SCP-106, also known as the Old Man, is a hostile, Keter-class SCP object, known for his acid effect on all matter he makes contact with. He is of high importance to keep contained due to his hazardous and hostile nature. SCP-106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting quality is observed in all forms. SCP-106 is not exceptionally agile, and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for his prey. SCP-106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, SCP-106 will attempt to incapacitate his prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, then pull the disabled prey into its pocket dimension. SCP-106 appears to prefer human prey items in the 10 to 25 years of age bracket, engaging a physical breakdown in materials several seconds after contact. This is observed as rotting and cracking of materials and the creation of a black, mucus-like substance similar to the material coating of SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissues and is assumed to be a predigestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact, after which the effect appears to burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. SCP-106 is able to vanish inside solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. SCP-106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. For example, entering the inner wall of the room and exiting the outer wall. Entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin for SCP-106 or a simple layer created by SCP-106. SCP-106 resembles an extremely old, withered man with a bald head, sunken black eyes, and a lipless, skull-like grin. His wrinkled flesh is dark with necrosis and constantly oozes a corrosive black mucus that breaks down all solid matter, which it uses both as a weapon and a tool for escape and hunting. SCP-106 has no need to eat or sleep and will often remain motionless for days on end until it senses its next victim. Once it finds a potential victim, SCP-106 will stalk them relentlessly until it catches its target. Hiding from SCP-106 is useless. Not only can it seem to sense nearby humans, but it can also phase through solid matter via its corrosive mucus, leaving behind a blackened silhouette in its wake. Once its prey is cornered, SCP-106 will incapacitate them, usually by breaking bones or severing tendons, before pulling them into its pocket dimension via the dark patches it leaves behind on walls. Here, it will taunt and torment its prisoners before finally killing them, sometimes collecting bits from its prey like bones and teeth. What its pocket dimension looks like is largely unknown. The few victims who are released from 106's dimension don't live long enough to talk, and while recording devices work within the dimension, the captured footage appears heavily degraded. The only thing known for certain is that SCP-106 has total control within its dimension, being able to warp space, time, and perception at will, including how SCP-106 appears to its prisoners. SCP-106 is the only one person who can freely enter and exit this dimension. SCP-106's true personality is largely unknown, as Foundation personnel and psychologists are unable to perform a psychoanalysis on him due to his unwillingness to talk and difficulties in containing him. In the past, he was an obedient, brave, and helpful man. However, once he had undergone this horrendous transformation, his motives became that of a serial killer or a stalking predator, hunting, tormenting, and capturing, killing people without remorse or seemingly any reason. Despite his sadistic streak, SCP-106 seems to be at least partially aware of his behavior. SCP-106 has no determinable limit and appears to collect a random number of prey during any event. One day, SCP-106 could take 3 people, and the next it could take 50. Physical damage to this SCP seems to have no effect. SCP-106 appears to go through long periods of dormancy, in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. The cause for this is unknown. However, it has been shown that this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. SCP-106 will emerge from this state in a very agitated state, and it will attack and abduct staff and cause immense damage to its containment cell in the site at large. SCP-106 is to be contained in a sealed container, comprised of lead-lined steel. The container will be sealed within 40 layers of identical material, each layer separated by no less than 36 centimeters of empty space. Support struts between layers are to be randomly placed. Container is to remain suspended no less than 60 centimeters from any surface by ELO-IID electromagnetic supports. Secondary containment area is to be comprised of 16 spherical cells, each filled with various fluids and a random assembly of surfaces and supports. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems, capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 80,000 lumens of light, instantly with no direct human involvement. Both containment areas are to remain under 24-hour surveillance. In the case of a containment breach, a human within the 10 to 25 years of age bracket will be prepped for recall, with a broken containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the subject will be injured, preferably via the breakage of a long bone, such as the femur, or the severage of a major tendon, such as the Achilles tendon. The bait subject will then be placed in the prepped cell, and the painful screams emitted by the said subject will be transmitted over the site public address system. SCP-106 will typically begin to gravitate toward the lure subject within 10 to 15 minutes after hearing the subject. Should SCP-106 not respond to the initial broadcast, additional physical trauma is to be administered to the lure subject at 20 minutes interval until the SCP-106 responds. Multiple lure subjects may be used in the case of a major breach event. SCP-106 will typically then enter a dormant state after finishing with a lure subject.